It's recorded?
Yep, recording.
Okay, hi. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be your trainer for this evening. My name is Shafi. Basically, I will share with you all regards about the basic firefighting training. But before as we go, I wish to know the participants for tonight. So just a little bit introduce about less than a minute to each and everyone for me to recap your names. May I? May. Sharon. Mohan. Murray. Okay. Basically, I think that you guys came for tonight. Wish to know more about the kind of types of fires that I'll actually be sharing with you. So what we need to know is actually the fire. That means the types of fire, types of heat transmission, types of extinguishing, and types of fire extinguishers. So on the fire statistic, SCDF responded to 3,385 fire call in 2018. That means a slight increase compared to last year. I mean in 2018. So that means there's a 0.4% more, like 14 more incidents for in 2017. So you see the numbers, fire residential premises fell, and that means the non-residential premises, meaning like those like warehouses, tends to catch more fire instead. So talk about injuries, there are 90 injuries in 2018, increase of 60, right? Then there were 4 fire fatalities in 2018. So these are statistics that actually got from the SCDF Fire Emergency Enforcement statistic, right? So before I proceed, I wish to know, do you all know what is fire and how does fire started? I wish to, I ask you all if you all do know how does fire ignites.
It's a triangle to it, isn't it?
A triangle to it, okay. But what kind of triangle is it? That means what actually it consists of that creates fire?
Fuel.
Say again?
Fuel.
Fuel. Oxygen.
Heat.
Heat. So what kind of fuel are you mentioning? What are the fuel? What are fuels?
Petrol, gasoline, kerosene.
Okay, that's very basic, the kind of fuel that actually we put on our vehicle. But what are the source of fuel that actually can ignite fire? What are the kind of fuel?
Building material.
Yes. Like?
Plastics.
Okay. Plastics.
Carpets.
Alright.
Upholstery.
So these are building materials, you see, which actually can catch fire. But when come back to just now, you mentioned the 3 forms. That means we are having heat, oxygen, right, and fuel. It actually a process in which substance combine chemically from oxygen and quickly give out bright lights, heat and smoke that combust into burning. So this is where they are. In the atmosphere, there's some sort of fuel like gasoline I mentioned, for example. Wood, gasoline, spontaneous catch fire when they're surrounded. So it ignites. It's a change of reaction between these 3 that actually cause a fire. Alright? So what is a fire triangle, as mentioned just now? It's just to show the 3 elements that when present together can cause a fire to start. These 3 ingredients are like, again, fuel, heat and oxygen, all under one circumstances. Okay? So, do you all know what are the classes of fire? How many classes are there? That means, like you mentioned just now, we talk about combustible material like carpet, plastic. Okay, so these are another form of fire classes. So how many classes do you know today? 3. There are more than that. Anyone? Can anyone? There are 5. Okay. That means they are class A, B, C, D, and F. There's no E, alright? There's A, B, C, D, and F. So what is A? Fire that involves such as wood, paper, trash, and other ordinary materials. Like you mentioned just now, it could be trash, carpet, chairs, table, right? Class B fire involves flammable liquids such as petrol, diesel, or oil. Like our friends here says that, those kind of flammable material like petrol. Class C fire involves electrical equipment, short circuit, faulty wiring, power cords damage, overcharged device like your laptop, your phone.
PMDs.
Say again?
PMDs.
Yes, PMD, okay, alright. Overloaded electric outlets, okay. And class D involve metals such as magnesium, titanium, uranium, potassium, and sodium. And the class F involve cooking oil. So these cooking oil parts is actually where it always happen. Where? Kitchen, right? So who are the one actually responsible in the kitchen? Mostly. Say again? Maids.
Housewives and
Yeah. It's housewife. Okay.
hawkers.
Yes, true. Hawkers, right? So that's why you guys are here today. Okay, you all need to know and understand the basic needs. Okay, and need to know the classification of the fire that we are having today.
Any reason they leave out
Say again?
class E?
Say again?
Why there's no class E?
Okay, why there's no class E? Right. It's been quite some time. Okay, why there's no class E? The fact is that if you look into UK standards, there is a class E. It's actually meant for electrical, whereas class C it mentions actually meant for gases. Okay, it doesn't say any gases, you see. But according to, since we're in Singapore, according to Singapore statistic, alright, they take out that class E, but instead they change the class E to electrical, and the classification on the gas is more to the gas actually more to class C in the electrical, you see, because gas is actually in a form of hazardous material that's actually the hazmat actually stepping into it, alright. But basically because we are talking about extinguishing, you can't extinguish a gas. You can't see a gas, is it? Am I right? So these are the things whereby class E. Yes.
So what international standards are we following here? We
Singapore.
change the specifications.
Yes. Okay. The specification standards we're actually following is the SCDF. Okay, the Singapore Civil Defence Force.
So the fire protection devices that we have, if they are purchased from Australia or from other countries, do they jive with our?
Yes, they do. You see, because basically, of course, the equipments today, the fire alarm system is not just locally from Singapore. They are even manufactured from other countries. But of course, it's just the classification that actually a little bit difference, is it, on the standards that they're actually giving. But other than that, be it from the sprinkler, from the hydrants, or from any other kind of sources, that anything related to fire, we have these in Singapore, the fire. I forgot what's the term called. They are actually in charge. Is it? They are. There are terms. I'll come back to you all. Right?
Safety standards.
There is a fire safety standards, but they have their terms. their terms for that. Right? Okay. So removing of fire. So how do we remove fire? So when you see here, it says cooling, remove of heat by using water. Smothering, cutting off supply by blanketing, and starvation. That means we starve the combustible material. When we talk about cooling, removal of heat by using water, right? It depends, is it? But of course, on the basic explanation on removing of fire, as long as we know there's heat, we need to use water, right? But subjected depends. If it's electrical fire, you'll get short circuit for it. So you have to be very careful. Okay. Talk about smothering. That means we are actually cutting off the supply by blanketing. Okay, we smother. If let's say today you are cooking, you're cooking in the kitchen. So how, if let's say there's fire engulfed in your kitchen, how do you actually smother? Okay, we actually blanket it. That means you may be thinking that there's fire. Oh, you just spray water, but in actual fact, you will create more fire instead. All right. So how do we smother? We use a blanket to cover, to extinguish the fire. That is another alternative besides using the fire extinguisher. That's how actually we starve. When we talk about starvation, remove of combustible material. That means when there's a fire, if let's say you see there's some pots, some kind of what do you call it? Your hardwares. If you're able to remove it from site to prevent more fire engulf as much, prevent from spreading. So it depends on how actually the fire looks like. But of course, if let's say it's a very big fire, if you think that the extinguisher itself is unable to extinguish it, what must you do? 995. Alright? Okay? So today, what I'm sharing with you is what is a fire extinguisher. Basically, I know more of you all do understand what is fire extinguisher. but I will again recap because I think not many of you all actually really do understand. I think you may see fire extinguisher, am I right, around, but have you all really considered to look deep into it? Is it? That means understanding, that means you need to know the lifespan, whether is there, you know, any more of kind of, what do you call it? The whatever inside. Yes, the expiry. Okay. And where normally do you see this fire extinguisher? Where do you normally see it?
5 points.
5 point? Yeah.
The entrance.
Yes, it's actually at the entrance. Okay, at the entrance or exit of the passageway. Okay, so fire extinguisher and appliances containing an extinguishing medium that can be expelled by the action of internal pressure and directed onto a fire. It is a portable device that discharges of a jet, water, foam, gas or other material to extinguish a fire. Okay? So when we talk about a fire itself, we need to know. If let's say today we don't talk about big fire, we talk about just a table and chairs actually on fire, right? What are the distance you think that we are supposed to? That means how much close are you supposed to be? That means to extinguish the fire. How close will you be? That far? 1 meter?
I suppose, what kind of extinguishing agent you use? If you are using
That will be later. That will be later. I'll explain. I will come to you later. But basically, what actually I'm trying to share to you is today when there is a fire. Example today, this table is on fire, right? So normally, how do you extinguish the fire? Do you all know? Just by spraying, right? It's actually you must spray at the base of the seat of the fire. That means when the fire engulf, right? When you see fire, you don't take your extinguisher and you just blindly spray it, because at the end you are just you're not extinguishing anything, right? The water or the foam or the whatever things are coming through is actually just pass through. You must actually shoot at the seat of the fire. That means the base of it. Then you must have at least about 1.5 meter distance, alright? And also depends. If let's say the wind is blowing, it must be blowing from your back. It can't be like blowing from the other end, because in actual fact, when you spray, it will actually come back to you. Okay? So it must be the wind from the back. And ensure that when you extinguish fire, right, make sure the exit is also at your back. Because if anything happens, if the fire spread, there's an emergency route or evacuation for you to exit in time. Alright? Okay, that's it. Okay. Alright. So the types of fire extinguisher, like mentioned just now, okay? We have the powder, we have water, we have these for wet chemical, the foam, and the CO2. Okay? So basically here, what are CO2 meant for? It's actually, like mentioned just now, CO2 for electrical fire. Alright? When you see electrical fire, you can't be using water to extinguish, because you'll never know, you get close, you'll get electrocuted to it. Alright? And how do you normally use foam? At what kind of incident?
Oil.
Foam. Yes. Oil fire, we use foam. Alright? So based on chemical, which actually we don't really use much chemical on here, because chemical is another level stage, you see. But basically this picture I extract from the media, so we don't really emphasize much on the chemical. Okay? And how do we use water? That means what kind of fire do we use water? What kind of fire? Woods, right? Combustible material, woods, chairs, TV can? Electrical, okay? Cannot, right? So same goes to powder and CO2 for oxygen. These two, they are able to blend together. That means electrical fire, we can also use powder. Okay? So when talk about water, okay, I'm not gonna explain much about kind of extinguishers we're having. Basically, I'll talk about water, then we talk about CO2 and the dry powder. Okay, so talk about water. Okay, that's says here, used to extinguish Class A fire. Okay, principle of extinguishing of fire by water cooling. However, water should not be used with fire involving live electrical equipment, combustible metal, like mentioned. Okay, so when you see a fire extinguisher, right? So basically, when you see these two handles over here, you don't get confused, okay? the top part is actually not the carrying handle, which sometimes most of you all tends to use it to carry. Okay, you must use it. The carrying handle is actually at the bottom here. These are for the discharge. Okay, so these are the cylinders. That's the base. That's the nozzle, flexible tube, right, and the pressure gauge. Before you actually use it, you have to take out the safety pin. All right. I thought getting an extinguisher outside there. I don't have any sample. Okay. All right.
Cannot put the safety pin. Cannot demonstrate them properly.
So, what extinguisher is this? Okay, let me see.
Powder.
Powder. Yeah, look. Alright. So these are powder. Okay. You see the way we handle. Some of you all might tend to use it this way, hold it this way, which is wrong, right? You must hold it from the bottom. This is where the handle that supported the whole weight of it. Okay. So when you want to extinguish a fire, alright, so what must you do? The very first thing is ensure that the pin, don't press first, because when you press, you take out the pin, it'll just come out. Alright? So what must you do? First you have to take out the pin. Alright? Then subsequently by aiming. Alright? Then you press and you spray. Again, when you spray, ensure it's at the seat and you sweep from left to right. You don't just throw anyhow, because normally you see it in media. Why, even there's a car fire, people take extinguisher from their own car. But at the end, they just spray anyhow, don't know what they're shooting. Is it? When you extinguish, remember, actually must be at the seat of the fire or where the fire is actually source. Is it? At the source of the fire. Alright? So you won't waste much while waiting for the SCDF to arrive. Alright?
Can this last you for?
Okay. It won't last long. It will last till you last press it until finish.
So it's good to enough for a class?
No, it's never enough. It's never enough.
So what happened halfway?
Okay, halfway through, like I said, it depends. You have to get numbers of this extinguisher, or you have to wait for the arrival of SCDF. Because this kind of extinguisher, it only lasts maybe for a few tables. Yes, it's fine. But if more than that, it cannot. Right? Alright. So basically, these are the water extinguishers. Right. So there's pressure gauge here. Am I right? So ensure that it's always full and it's always at the green. Right. As long as it's green, the pin is stated at the green, that means it's still full. So the next one is CO2. Used for extinguishment of flammable liquid gas fire and fire involving electrical energized equipment. Okay. The minimum concentration of carbon dioxide is needed for extinguishment. Principle of extinguishment of fire by CO2. CO2 is smothering. So again here, right, the discharge, carrying handle, cylinder base, there is a discharge horn. Okay. These are the tube, safety pin. It's different. Unlike here, it is a flexible tube. Right? But when it comes to CO2, this is a hard one, a hard tube, followed by a discharge horn. Okay? When you blast, again, get close, and there'll be actually kind of CO2 coming out from it. Okay, next one, dry powder. Okay? Dry powder is also same kind of cylinder, just like the water earlier. But powders are forms a barrier to reduce the oxygen content for sustainable combustion. Principle of extinguishment of fire by dry powder is through smothering. It's effective for fire involving class A, B, and C. Right? However, it's very necessary not suitable for electronic equipment. Inhaling of chemical may be detrimental to one health. Okay? Just be careful, because when it comes to powder, there is a kind of agent. You know, when it goes to you, you tend to, might cough or whatever. So try to prevent yourself from getting close to it. Okay? Other than that, it's the same concept we are using. Okay? So the method of operation, we call it as pass, like I said just now. Pull out the safety pin, aim the nozzle at the base of the fire, squeeze the lever, direct discharge at the base of the fire using the sweeping motion. Okay? It's called pass. Okay? Fire safety training video. Okay, these are some basic, little videos we're gonna watch. I think about 2 minutes, not much. So we're gonna see through it. Okay.
Hey, I created this beautiful logo for my bike shop with Wix Logo Maker. Check it out. Go to wix.com.
Chances are you will go through your entire working career and never have to use a fire extinguisher. Chances are you will never have to use one while on the road, but there should be one in your vehicle. Have you inspected it lately? Close your eyes for a second. Can you point to the nearest fire extinguisher? Where is the second nearest one? No matter where you happen to be, you should always know the location of the nearest extinguisher. Go take a look at it. Has it been inspected? Fire extinguishers should be inspected regularly and at least once a month. Even if your company inspects them, you should look them over to make sure they meet 3 requirements. 1. Is the extinguisher charged? The pressure should always be at the recommended level. On extinguishers equipped with a gauge, the needle should be in the green zone, not too high and not too low. 2. Are all extinguishers mounted correctly? The top of an extinguisher should never be mounted higher than 60 inches above the floor surface, and the bottom of an extinguisher should never be closer than 4 inches above the floor. They should never be used as door props or paperweights. They are not coat hangers or tool hooks. 3. Are they unobstructed and easily accessed? Never place anything in front of a fire extinguisher. In the event of an emergency, we can't waste time trying to find the extinguisher that's hidden by a box or impossible to reach because it's behind a piece of equipment. Most fire standards recommend that a clear and unobstructed path to the extinguisher be maintained at all times, with the access being at least 2 to 3 feet wide. They cannot be hidden behind doors, cabinets, or anything else. There are 2 important things to remember if you ever need to use an extinguisher. First, make sure that you never place yourself in a position where the fire is between you and a safe exit. Keep the fire in front of you and the safe exit at your back. And second, remember the PASS system. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. When you need to use the extinguisher, first pull the safety pin from the handle. Then, aim the extinguisher nozzle at the base of the fire. This is the spot where the flames are touching the fuel source. Next, squeeze the handle to activate the extinguisher. And finally, sweep the spray back and forth across the target. Continue until the fire is out. If you are unsure that you can put the fire out, evacuate the area. Thanks for watching and have a safe day.
Okay, so review of the learning outcome. Today that means you are able to identify fire and basic of a fire extinguisher, evaluate conditions to determine whether to evacuate or fight the fire, as I mentioned just now, if the fire is big or fire is small. Okay, demonstrate the technique used to extinguish a fire with PASS. Right. So before that, again, I just wish to ask: do you all know what's PASS? PASS? Anyone can share and tell me? Huh? Okay.
Aim.
Aim.
Squeeze.
Squeeze and sweep. Alright? Okay, so any question and answer? If you have any
What's
questions?
the frequency of inspection here in Singapore?
The frequency, okay, the what we do, we have this the FSA fire as sorry. FSB, okay? The Singapore FSB Fire Safety Bureau, they are the one actually in charge on the inspection annually, okay? But depends subjected. If let's say there are cases, they might go as 6 months, one time, like that, okay? Yes.
Okay, how big is the fire that you have to attend also?
Okay, how big the fire? Okay, it actually how big the fire depends on so-called the ammunition you are having lah. If let's say today you are having a hose reel which you think you are able to extinguish this much of fire, that hose reel are able to produce that much of water, then you extinguish, follow up by calling the SDF. Alright? But nevertheless, as long there is a fire, please call 995. Alright? So, thank you class.